My beloved child. Listen carefully and do not rush past these words, because what I am about to reveal has been waiting quietly around you for a very long time. There is someone in your life who loves you far more deeply than you have ever imagined, not with loud promises or dramatic gestures, but with a silence that carries weight, sacrifice, and unspoken fear. This love watches you when you are unaware, protects you when you feel alone, and chooses you even on days when you doubt yourself. Yet this love is not free or simple. It carries a serious truth that has never been spoken out loud, a truth so heavy that it has changed the way this person breathes around you. Every smile they show hides a pause, every kind word carries something held back, and every moment they choose you, they are also choosing to suffer quietly. You may have felt it in brief moments, a strange tension in the air, a feeling that something important was about to be said but never was. That feeling was real. It was not your imagination. It was the weight of a love that is afraid of what will happen if you finally know everything. There is a reason this person never fully relaxes around you, even though they feel safest when you are near. There is a reason their eyes change when certain topics come up, when the future is mentioned, or when you talk about trust and forever. This love did not begin casually. It was formed through observation, patience, and countless moments where they chose to stay silent instead of honest. They have memorized your moods, your pauses, the way your voice sounds when you are tired, and the way your energy shifts when you sense something is wrong. They know you deeply, yet they believe you do not know them at all. That imbalance is what frightens them. Because the truth they carry is not small. It is serious enough that they fear it could alter how you see them, how you feel around them, or whether you would stay if everything was placed on the table at once. So they delay. They wait. They hope that timing will save them from confession. What makes this love even more intense is that it is not selfish. This person is not hiding the truth to control you or to gain something from you. They are hiding it because they believe it is the only way to protect you from confusion, pain, or a choice they are not ready to force upon you. They have convinced themselves that loving you quietly is better than risking losing you completely. This is why their actions often speak louder than their words. They show up when it matters. They listen more than they speak. They give without keeping score. And yet, beneath all of that devotion, there is a serious situation growing heavier with time. A situation that cannot stay hidden forever. Because love like this does not fade. It either finds courage or collapses under its own silence. You might wonder why this matters now, why these words are reaching you at this exact moment. It is because the distance between what is known and what is hidden is shrinking. The person who loves you is standing at a point where silence is becoming painful. They are starting to realize that every day they delay the truth, the more complicated everything becomes. Their fear is no longer just about losing you. It is about what will happen if you discover the truth from somewhere else, or at a moment when they can no longer explain it properly. They are torn between two futures. One where they finally speak and face whatever comes next. And another where they continue loving you from the shadows, hoping fate never forces the truth into the open. Here is what you must understand, and this is crucial. This love is real, rare, and intentional. But the seriousness of what they are hiding has the power to change everything once revealed. It could redefine trust. It could challenge assumptions. It could place you at the center of a decision you never expected to make. That is why this message is reaching you now, before the truth surfaces in a way that feels sudden or overwhelming. Pay attention to the signs. Notice who grows quiet when honesty is required. Notice who stays even when it would be easier to leave. And most importantly, prepare yourself. Because someone loves you deeply, more than words can explain, but they are carrying a serious truth that is moving closer to the surface with every passing moment. Before your heart can relax, you must hear what has never been said aloud, because silence has consequences, and this story is quietly approaching a turning point. The person who loves you has been living in two realities at once. In one reality, they are present, supportive, attentive, and deeply connected to you. In the other, they are carrying a truth that reshapes every choice they make around you. This is not a sudden issue. It is something that has been building over time, layer by layer, moment by moment. Each time they wanted to speak but stopped themselves, the weight grew heavier. Each time they smiled through discomfort, the distance between honesty and fear widened. They have rehearsed the conversation in their mind countless times, imagining your reaction, your silence, your questions, and even the possibility of you walking away. That imagined future is what keeps them awake. Because they know once the truth is spoken, there is no undoing it. What makes this situation even more intense is that you are not powerless in it, even if you feel unaware. Your presence has already influenced their decisions in ways you do not see. They have delayed major choices. They have altered plans. They have sacrificed opportunities. All because revealing this truth might force a change they are not emotionally prepared to handle. This is not about drama or exaggeration. This is about a serious internal conflict between love and responsibility. They believe that by staying silent, they are buying time. Time for things to resolve on their own. Time for courage to arrive naturally. Time for circumstances to soften the impact of what they must eventually say. But time does not work that way. Time does not erase truth. It sharpens it. There is also something else you should know. This love is not accidental. You were not chosen randomly. You represent safety, meaning, and emotional depth to this person. That is why the truth feels so dangerous to them. Because losing you would not just be losing a connection. It would feel like losing the one place where they feel understood without explanation. They are afraid that once you know everything, you will see them differently. Not as someone strong, reliable, or composed, but as someone complicated, uncertain, or flawed. They fear the shift in your eyes more than any argument or outcome. That fear has shaped how carefully they move around you, how measured their words are, and how often they choose restraint over expression. As this tension builds, subtle signs begin to appear. Moments where they seem distracted even when you are close. Pauses in conversations that should flow easily. A hesitation before answering simple questions about the future. These are not coincidences. These are pressure points where the truth is trying to surface. The more they care, the harder it becomes to keep pretending that nothing is wrong. And deep down, they know that love built on partial honesty cannot stay stable forever. Something must give. Either the silence breaks, or the connection begins to crack in ways that are harder to repair. This is the phase where everything feels calm on the surface but unstable underneath. And this is why your awareness matters now. Not to accuse. Not to confront prematurely. But to understand that love does not always arrive clean and uncomplicated. Sometimes it arrives carrying unfinished stories and unresolved realities. Someone loves you deeply, enough to stay, enough to protect you, and enough to fear losing you. But the seriousness of what they are holding back is approaching a moment where it can no longer remain hidden. When that moment arrives, it will not be casual. It will be defining. And what happens next will depend on how prepared both hearts are to face the truth together. There comes a moment when silence stops being protection and starts becoming a test, and that moment is closer than it appears. The person who loves you has reached a quiet edge where every heartbeat feels louder than the last. They are no longer just hiding a truth. They are carrying the consequences of hiding it. Their mind constantly measures distance, timing, and risk, wondering how much longer they can stand this invisible weight. What you see as calm is often calculation. What you hear as reassurance is often fear carefully wrapped in kindness. This is why their love feels intense but restrained, deep but controlled. They are trying to love you fully while standing behind a locked door of their own making. What remains unseen is the emotional cost they are paying to keep that door closed. They replay old moments and question every decision that led them here. They ask themselves whether love should be brave or careful, whether honesty should arrive suddenly or slowly. Each answer conflicts with the next. And yet, through all this confusion, one thing never changes. Their commitment to you. Even when they doubt themselves, they do not doubt what you mean to them. That is why this secret is not fading with time. It is sharpening. Because the more meaningful you become in their life, the more dangerous silence feels. Love, when real, does not allow permanent hiding. There is also a truth you may not have considered. This serious matter they are carrying is not just about them. It is about how it might affect you, your choices, your future, and the way you see the bond you share. They fear that once everything is exposed, you will feel misled, even if their intentions were pure. They fear that you will question every memory, every promise, every shared moment. That fear keeps them stuck between wanting to confess and wanting to preserve what already exists. They are not afraid of consequences alone. They are afraid of changing the story you believe you are living. As the pressure builds, love begins to speak in indirect ways. Through protection that feels excessive. Through concern that arrives before you ask for it. Through distance that appears suddenly and then disappears without explanation. These contradictions are not accidents. They are signs of a heart negotiating with itself. A heart that knows truth is inevitable but hopes for the perfect moment that may never come. And while they wait, they watch you closely, searching for signs of how you might react. Every expression, every pause, every emotional shift becomes a signal they analyze in silence. This is where everything quietly prepares to change. Because secrets do not end stories. They transform them. The love surrounding you is real, deliberate, and deeply invested. But the seriousness of what remains unspoken is reaching a point where it demands acknowledgement. Not today. Not suddenly, but soon. And when that moment arrives, it will not feel random. It will feel like the result of every silent second that led here. Someone loves you deeply. And the truth they carry is aligning itself with time, waiting for the moment it can no longer be held back. Now pay close attention, because this is where the story tightens and the air grows heavier. The person who loves you is no longer asking whether the truth should be revealed. They are asking how much damage silence has already caused. Inside them, a quiet realization is forming. That protecting you without your consent may itself be a kind of risk. They are beginning to understand that love cannot remain frozen at a safe distance forever. Every time you trust them a little more, the weight of what they hide presses harder against their chest. They feel it when you laugh freely. They feel it when you speak about tomorrow. And they feel it most when you look at them with certainty, believing nothing stands between you and them. That look is both their strength and their breaking point. There is a shift happening that you may not yet recognize. Their patience is thinning, not with you, but with themselves. They are exhausted from managing two versions of reality. One where everything feels simple and close. And one where everything is complicated and unresolved. The emotional strain of holding these worlds apart is starting to show in subtle ways. Their voice may hesitate. Their words may sound carefully chosen. Their affection may deepen suddenly, as if they are trying to give you everything before something changes. These are not random behaviors. These are signs of someone preparing for impact, even if they do not know exactly when it will arrive. What makes this moment critical is that love has reached a crossroads. If the truth continues to stay hidden, it will begin to reshape the connection in unhealthy ways. Distance will grow where closeness once lived. Assumptions will replace clarity. And small misunderstandings will carry more weight than they should. The person who loves you understands this now. They know that silence cannot protect forever. It only delays the moment of reckoning. And the longer it is delayed, the more powerful that moment becomes. This awareness is why their energy around you may feel intense, as if something important is hovering just beyond reach. At the same time, they are watching you with a different kind of attention. Not just as someone they love, but as someone who may soon hold the power to decide the future of this bond. They are trying to read your emotional language. They are listening for signs of flexibility, compassion, and strength. Not because they doubt you, but because they fear overwhelming you. They want the truth to land in a way that does not shatter what has been built. And yet, they also know that no perfect timing exists. Truth does not wait for comfort. It arrives when it must. This is the stage where everything feels quiet, but nothing is still. The love surrounding you is standing on the edge of honesty. The seriousness of what has been hidden is no longer dormant. It is active, present, and moving closer to expression. Someone loves you deeply, with intention and care. But they are also standing at the limit of how much they can carry alone. What comes next will not be small. It will redefine understanding, reshape trust, and mark the moment when silence finally loses its grip. There is a quiet inevitability approaching now, not dramatic, not loud, but undeniable, like a truth that has learned how to breathe on its own. The person who loves you has stopped asking whether they can carry this alone, because they already know the answer. They cannot. Love was never meant to be a solo burden. It was meant to be shared in clarity, not protected through silence. Every day they stay close to you, the contrast becomes sharper between what you feel and what they know. That contrast is no longer manageable. It presses against their conscience, their emotions, and their sense of fairness. They understand that by not telling you, they are shaping your reality without your permission. And that realization is heavier than fear itself. What is important here is not just the truth they carry, but the intention behind finally releasing it. This is not about relief for them alone. It is about respect for you. They are beginning to see that love without full honesty quietly turns into control, even when it starts from care. That understanding is changing them. You may sense it as a sudden seriousness, a depth in their attention, or an emotional intensity that feels almost urgent. They are not pulling away. They are gathering courage. Courage does not always look confident. Sometimes it looks like silence that is about to break. When this truth emerges, it will not arrive as a dramatic confession designed to shock. It will arrive as something carefully chosen, measured, and sincere. Because they know the seriousness of what they are about to place in your hands. They know it may require you to rethink expectations, reassess trust, or confront questions you never planned to ask. And yet, they are ready to face that risk, because continuing in silence has begun to feel like a deeper betrayal than honesty ever could. This is the turning point where love stops hiding and starts standing still, willing to be seen fully. You must understand this clearly. Whatever the truth is, it exists alongside genuine care, deep attachment, and real commitment. It does not erase the moments you shared. It does not cancel the emotions that were real. But it will demand something new from both of you. Awareness, choice, and maturity. This is why this moment feels different. Because it is not just about revelation. It is about transformation. The relationship you know cannot remain exactly as it is. It must either deepen through understanding or fracture under unresolved silence. So when the moment comes, remember this. Someone loves you deeply enough to risk losing you rather than continue building a future on incomplete truth. That alone tells you how serious this love is. What happens next will not be dictated by fear, but by how honesty is received and held. This is not the end of a story. It is the moment where the story finally becomes real. What follows after silence breaks is never chaos, but clarity, and that clarity has its own power. The person who loves you is stepping into a space they have avoided for a long time, not because they are ready for every outcome, but because they are done living divided. They know that once the truth is spoken, everything becomes real in a way it never was before. No more guessing. No more hidden tension. No more carrying love in fragments. This is not impulsive. This is deliberate. They have reached the point where honesty feels safer than pretending. And that decision alone changes the energy between you, even before a single word is said. When the truth finally reaches you, it may not feel the way you expect. It may not arrive with shock or sudden drama. It may arrive quietly, almost gently, because the person speaking it will be watching you closely, measuring your breath, your silence, your response. They will not be trying to defend themselves. They will be trying to be understood. This is important, because serious truths are not meant to overpower. They are meant to invite awareness. What they reveal will connect past actions, explain unexplained pauses, and give meaning to moments that once felt confusing. Pieces that never fit before will suddenly align. This is also the moment where love is tested in its most honest form. Not through promises, but through presence. How both of you choose to sit with reality once it is known. The truth does not demand perfection. It demands sincerity. The person who loves you is not asking you to accept everything instantly. They are asking you to see them completely. To understand that the silence you experienced was not absence of care, but fear of loss. And while fear is not an excuse, it is part of the human condition that shapes even the strongest emotions. From this point forward, the connection cannot move backward. It can only move deeper or apart. That is the seriousness of this moment. Love either expands when truth enters, or it reveals limits that were always there but unseen. This is why this stage feels heavy. Because it holds potential in both directions. Not destruction, but decision. Not endings, but definition. The kind that reshapes how two people relate, communicate, and trust. Remember this above all else. Someone loves you deeply, enough to stop hiding, enough to face uncertainty, and enough to place honesty above comfort. That is not a small act.